Stop. Just stop for a moment. Whatever you're doing right now, put it down, because this message was not meant for just anyone. It found you, out of millions of people scrolling, searching, moving through their day. It found you, and I need you to understand something before we go any further. That is not an accident. Nothing about this moment is accidental. I am Michael, and I have been watching over you. Not from a distance, not from somewhere far away and untouchable. From right here, closer than the breath in your lungs, closer than the thoughts in your mind. I have been here, and today, I am speaking directly to you. Because something is happening in your life right now. Something you've been trying to manage on your own. Something you haven't told anyone about. Something that wakes you up at 3 a.m. and sits on your chest like a weight you can't explain. You feel it, don't you? That low hum of dread in the back of your mind. That quiet voice that keeps whispering that something is wrong. That you're running out of time. That things are about to shift in a way you're not ready for. You've been pushing that voice down. Dismissing it, calling it anxiety, calling it overthinking, telling yourself you're fine, but you're not fine. And deep down, you already know that. I'm not here to frighten you. That is not why I've come. I'm here because what's coming toward you right now requires your attention, requires your awareness, requires you to wake up before it's too late to prepare. There is a difference between fear and alertness. Fear paralyzes you, alertness protects you. And right now, I need you alert. Let me show you what I see. Because I see everything. I see the version of you that shows up for the world. The one that smiles. The one that says, I'm good, when someone asks. The one that keeps going, keeps pushing, keeps carrying. But I also see the version of you that no one else sees. The one that sits alone and stares at the wall. The one that scrolls through your phone not because you want to, but because silence feels unbearable. The one that has started building walls. Not to protect yourself from strangers, but from the people closest to you. You've been pulling away, quietly, slowly, in ways that are almost invisible. But I see it, and I need you to see it too. Because that pulling away, that slow withdrawal, that's not peace, that's not healing, that's something else. That's a soul that has been wounded so many times. It started to believe that distance is safety. Can I ask you something? When did you stop trusting people? Not just strangers, but the ones who love you. When did you start assuming the worst before it happened? When did love start feeling like a trap? When did hope start feeling foolish? I know the answer. I watched it happen. I watched someone in your past take your openness and use it against you. I watched someone you trusted walk away without explanation. I watched someone you loved choose someone else, or something else, over you. And you didn't just feel rejected. You felt erased, like your presence didn't matter enough to fight for. And instead of grieving that properly, instead of letting yourself fall apart and rebuild, you made a decision, a quiet, unconscious decision, that you would never let anyone get close enough to do that again. That decision has been protecting you. I understand why you made it, but it has also been slowly destroying you. Because the walls you built to keep pain out have also kept love out, have kept connection out, have kept you out. You've been living on the surface of your own life, watching from behind glass, present in the room but absent from the moment. And something is coming, a convergence of events, a perfect storm. And if you don't open yourself up before it arrives, if you don't begin to address the things you've been avoiding, you're going to lose something you cannot get back. I'm not going to tell you exactly what, because the details belong to your specific life. But you know what's at stake. You've known for a while. That relationship you've been treating as optional. That person you keep pushing to the edges of your life. The one who keeps reaching out even when you go cold. The one who shows up even when you don't deserve it. You've been testing them, unconsciously, pushing them away to see if they'll stay. Withdrawing your warmth to see if they'll chase it. Because part of you still doesn't believe you're worth staying for. And I need you to hear this clearly. That test is about to cost you everything. There is only so much a human heart can take. Even the most loyal, even the most devoted, even the ones who love you the most. There is a limit, and you are approaching that limit. Not because they don't love you, but because love requires reciprocity. Love requires presence. Love requires you to show up. And you've been a ghost. I am not saying this to wound you. I am saying this because you still have time. There is still a window. But that window is closing. Now I want you to pause here for just a moment. Take a breath, a real one, deep into your belly. Hold it, let it go. I want you to feel something right now. That warmth moving through your chest. That's not nothing. That's presence. That's divine presence. That's the energy of God moving through you right now, telling you that you are heard, that you are seen, that you are not as alone as you've convinced yourself you are. You've been carrying a version of yourself that isn't true, a story you've been telling, that you're too broken to be loved properly, that you're too complicated, too much, too damaged, that the real you, the unfiltered, unguarded, unedited you, would drive people away. So you show them the edited version, the controlled version, the version with all the sharp edges filed down. And then you wonder why connection feels hollow, why love feels thin, why you feel lonely even in a room full of people who care about you. Here's the hidden truth I came to reveal today. The tragedy that is approaching your life is not coming from outside you. It is not some external force or random misfortune. The tragedy is the life you are slowly building by keeping yourself locked behind walls that no longer serve you. The tragedy is looking up 10 years from now and realizing the people who loved you gave up, not because they wanted to, but because you never let them in. And I know you're resistant right now. Some part of you is fighting this. That protective part, the one that says, I've heard this before. This is just more spiritual talk. Nothing changes. Let that part speak. I'm not afraid of it. But I need the deeper part of you. The quiet, tired, hopeful part. To keep listening. Because that part of you, the one that opened this message today, that wasn't accident. That wasn't boredom. That was a soul reaching towards something it desperately needs. That was the part of you that still believes, still hopes, still wants more than the half-life you've been living. If you've been feeling guided lately, if you've been experiencing moments of stillness that feel meaningful, if certain numbers, certain songs, certain words keep finding you, those are not coincidences. That is the language of heaven trying to reach through to you. And today is a continuation of that conversation. Stay open to these messages. Let them find you, because the guidance you receive in moments like this one is specifically designed for the road you're walking. Now let me speak to the thing you haven't told anyone. The habit, the behavior, the coping mechanism you've built in secret. I'm not going to name it by name, because you already know what it is. You've known for a long time. Maybe it's how much you drink when no one's watching. Maybe it's the way you disappear into screens for hours to avoid feeling. Maybe it's the compulsive spending, the emotional eating, the way you go back to someone who is not good for you every single time the loneliness gets loud enough. Maybe it's something you've never said out loud to anyone, something that lives in the dark corners of your private moments. I see it, and I want you to know something that may surprise you. I am not disgusted. I am not disappointed in the way you fear I am. What I see when I look at that habit is a child trying to survive, a person in pain reaching for whatever numbs it, even temporarily. A soul that never learned a better way to cope, because no one taught you, because you were never safe enough to fall apart properly. But here's what I also see. That habit is extracting a price. Every single time you return to it, it costs you something. Your clarity, your health, your self-respect, your mornings, your potential, the version of you that could have been, is slowly being traded for temporary relief. And the tragedy I'm warning you about today is partly rooted there, in that secret place, in that private war you've been fighting alone. You cannot keep managing this alone. You were never designed to carry this alone. No human being is. That is not weakness. That is design. God built you for connection, for community, for the vulnerability of being known and still loved. And every time you refuse that, Every time you choose the secret habit over reaching out, you drift a little further from the life that is waiting for you. Let me tell you what that life looks like. Because I've seen it, it exists. It is possible. It is yours, if you choose it. There is a version of you that wakes up without dread, that greets the morning without immediately checking what's wrong. A version of you that sits in a room with someone you love and feels genuinely, completely present. Not monitoring them, not waiting for them to leave, not bracing for impact, just there. There is a version of your story where the relationship you're scared of losing becomes the most beautiful thing in your life. Because you chose to stop pushing it away. Because you chose to let yourself be loved. There is a version where that habit loses its power over you. Not because you white-knuckled your way through it, but because you found something real enough to replace it. That version is not a fantasy. It is a genuine fork in the road. And you are standing at it right now. In this moment, reading these words, the choice is real, the window is real, and so is the urgency. I want to speak now about what God is doing in your life right now. Because even in the middle of all this, even in the mess and the fear and the shame and the confusion, God has not stopped moving on your behalf. You may have felt abandoned. You may have prayed and heard nothing. You may have reached out to heaven in your darkest moments and felt like your words hit the ceiling and stopped. They didn't. Every prayer was heard, every tear was seen, every desperate whisper in the dark found its destination. The silence you felt was not rejection. It was preparation. God has been rearranging things in the unseen world. Things you cannot perceive from where you stand. Doors you couldn't walk through because you weren't ready were being held until the moment you were. And that moment is now approaching. But there is a condition. There is always a condition when heaven opens a door. Not because God is withholding, but because grace requires a willing heart. The condition is this: you have to be willing to be honest. With yourself first, then with the people who love you, then with God. Not a performance of honesty. Not the kind where you confess just enough to feel clean but not enough to change. Real honesty. The kind that costs you something. The kind that makes your hands shake. The kind that begins with saying the one thing you have been absolutely refusing to say. What is that thing for you? You know what it is. It's been sitting in your throat for months. Maybe years. It might be, I need help. It might be, I'm sorry. It might be, I love you and I've been punishing you for it. It might be, I've been lying to myself. It might be, I don't want to keep living like this. Whatever that sentence is for you, today is the day it needs to be said. Because here is what is happening right now in the spiritual realm. There is a critical moment of alignment approaching your life. A moment when several things are converging. Your relationships, your choices, your patterns, your trajectory, and the way that moment resolves depends almost entirely on the posture of your heart when it arrives. If your heart is closed, defended, armored, the convergence will feel like collision, like everything hitting you at once, like confirmation of your deepest fear that life is out to get you. But if your heart is open, even just cracked open, even just willing, that same convergence becomes a turning point, becomes the moment everything shifts in your favor, becomes the beginning of the life you've been quietly praying for. I am here today as a guardian, not a judge, a protector, and I am telling you with everything I carry, open your heart, let the walls come down. Not all at once, not recklessly, but intentionally, bravely, one honest moment at a time. You have been so strong for so long. I know that, heaven knows that, and your strength is real. But strength was never meant to replace vulnerability. It was meant to give you the courage to be vulnerable when it matters most. And it matters most right now. I want to speak directly now to the guilt you carry. Because it is heavy, heavier than you let on. You've done things you're not proud of, said things you can't take back, made choices that hurt people you love, maybe choices that hurt yourself. And you've been living with the weight of that, carrying it like a sentence, like punishment you've decided you deserve. I need to tell you something about that guilt. Guilt is meant to be a signal, not a sentence. It is meant to point you toward correction, not toward self-destruction. When guilt has done its job, when it has led you to acknowledge what happened, when it has motivated you to make amends where possible, its job is done. It is not meant to follow you forever. It is not meant to define you. It is not meant to be the lens through which you see yourself for the rest of your life. What you did in your worst moments is not who you are. What you said when you were in pain is not the full measure of your character. Who you were when you were lost is not who you have to remain. God does not see you through the lens of your failures. God sees you through the lens of your becoming. And you are becoming something. Even now, even in the middle of this mess, even with all of it unresolved, you are in the process of becoming something braver, something more honest, something more whole, and that process is sacred. Even when it's painful, especially when it's painful, I want to give you something to hold on to. A promise that comes not from me but from the God who sent me. You will not be abandoned in this. Whatever comes next, whatever the convergence brings, whatever truth gets revealed, whatever changes, you will not face it alone. The presence that has been with you in your darkest nights will be with you as you step into the light. There is a spiritual protection being placed around you right now. I need you to receive it. Not just intellectually, actually receive it. Place your hand on your chest if you can. Feel your heartbeat. That rhythm is not accidental. That is God keeping you alive for a purpose. For this moment, for what comes next. You've been asking for signs. You've been asking whether any of this is real, whether heaven actually hears you, whether you are actually loved by something bigger than yourself. This message is the answer. Not because these are magic words, but because something in you recognized it. Something in you knew before you were done reading the first line. That this was for you. That recognition is the sign. That knowing is the voice of God moving in your spirit. Do not dismiss it. Do not file it away. Do not finish this message and go back to sleep. You owe it to yourself to act on what you feel right now. Not tomorrow. Not when things settle down. Not when you're ready. Because here's the truth about readiness. You will never feel ready. Ready is a feeling that follows action, not a condition for it. So here's what I am asking you to do. Today, not someday. Today, one honest conversation. With yourself, with God, with someone who loves you. One wall that you consciously choose to lower. One moment of genuine presence with someone who has been trying to reach you. One acknowledgement of the habit, the pattern, the thing. Just acknowledgement, not perfection. Just the beginning, because beginnings are all heaven ever asks for. God does not ask you to arrive already whole. God asks you to take one step toward wholeness, and then another, and then another, and to trust that the path will hold you as you walk it. I want to speak now about the days ahead, because they are significant. There is a season of acceleration coming for your life. Things that have been stalled will begin to move. Answers that have been withheld will begin to arrive. Doors that have been stuck will begin to open. But those openings correspond to what you do in this season. How you show up in the next few weeks matters more than you know. The choices you make in this window will echo for years. Don't sleepwalk through it. Don't let the urgency of ordinary life drown out the sacred importance of this moment. You were brought to this message because heaven is trying to give you a head start. An awareness advantage. Most people won't slow down enough to hear it. Most people will be blindsided by the convergence. But you don't have to be. You've been chosen to hear this. Not because you're perfect, not because you've earned it, but because you matter. Because your story is not finished. Because there are people in your life, and people not yet in your life, whose futures are connected to the version of you that chooses to wake up today. You think your choices only affect you. They don't. The version of you that heals, that opens up, that becomes honest and present and whole, will touch people in ways you cannot currently imagine. Your breakthrough is not just for you. It never is. If you've been feeling a pull toward messages like this one, if you've been finding yourself in unexpected moments of stillness that feel like more than coincidence, honor that pull, follow it. Stay connected to the guidance that keeps finding you. Because heaven communicates consistently with those who are willing to listen. And you are listening. We are near the end now. And I want to leave you with something you can carry. Not just today, but in the days ahead when things get hard. When you feel the pull to close back up. When the old habits whisper. When the walls feel safer than the opening. Remember this moment. Remember the feeling in your chest right now. That warmth, that recognition, that quiet tearfulness that you might be trying to push down. That is real. That is the fingerprint of heaven on your heart. And it will never fully leave you. Because once you've been touched by truth, really touched, you carry it with you everywhere. You are not alone. I need you to really hear that. Not as a comforting phrase. As a fact, a spiritual, actual, lived in, present tense fact. You are not alone. Michael is with you. God is with you. A force of love so vast it constructed stars. Is personally aware of every detail of your life. Every fear, every failure, every secret, every hope. And that force is not watching with judgment. It is watching with love. The tragedy I warned you about at the beginning of this message is not inevitable. It was never meant to be inevitable. It was meant to be a wake-up call. This message is the wake-up call. You've received it. That matters. Now the only question is what you do with it. And I believe in the part of you that is ready. The quiet, brave, tired, hopeful part. The part that opened this today. I believe in that part. And I need you to believe in it too. One honest step, one open moment, one real conversation, one decision to stop running. That's all it takes to begin. And the beginning changes everything. Go with the protection of heaven surrounding you. Go with the awareness that you are seen, known, and fiercely loved. Go knowing that the God who made you has not finished the story of your life. Not even close. The best of it is still ahead, but you have to choose to walk into it. And the door is open. Right now. Walk through it. I'll be right beside you.